Welcome back in, folks. So soon, I know you're thinking, after our jam-packed episode a few days ago talking everything AFC. That was quite literally just the half of it, because this episode, it's NFC time. Just as many movers and shakers, plenty of fantasy-relevant players moving teams. This is In the Pocket Across the Pond. I'm Lewis. I'm joined by the two Alexes, as always. Enjoy. Right, back at it. NFC this time. Let's go through the NFC, starting with the NFC North.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Chicago Bears. I think big one to start out with here is DeAndre Swift was given a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Bears.
Bargain.
They also traded for Keenan Allen, sent the Chargers a 2024 fourth-round pick. They picked up Gerald Everett, who was formerly the Chargers as well. And they re-signed one of the best cornerbacks in the game, Jalen Johnson, 4-year, $76 million. They're doing all they can, aren't they, to put things around Caleb Williams, who they are going to draft. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to draft Caleb Williams. I mean, I do think they're going to draft Caleb Williams. I don't think they should draft another wide receiver super high like people have.
No.
I think they get an offensive lineman, or even because although the Bears have 3 picks, I believe, in the top.
Was it 20 or something?
No, 2 picks in the top 9, 3 picks in kind of, it will be like the top 35 or whatever. Right. I think they've only got around 4 picks in the entire draft.
Right.
Something like that. So I would be looking, if I was them, to trade out of that 9 spot for another few picks in this year's draft, to be honest with you.
And DeAndre Swift, what do we think about him, Sharples?
I mean, well, I think Al's probably the man to talk to about DeAndre Swift, but I think he showed it plenty in Philadelphia last season. Probably robbed of a lot of touchdowns by whatever you want to call it, the tush push, the brotherly shove.
That was not outlawed.
Although no Jason Kelce this year for them. Paul went out for our lost homies. I like Swift. I think this is a good situation. Obviously, a little bit up in the air because we don't know what this offense is going to look like, because obviously not seen Caleb Williams yet. Yeah. But good player, good deal, should be sound.
Yeah, Shane Waldron, new offensive coordinator, who comes with a ringing endorsement from Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who said we spoke about this on the He said he's a great guy.
Yeah. I think that Caleb Williams, listen, the draft's a lottery. We'll get into that when we do our draft episode, which we will be releasing in a week or so. Mm-hmm. It's a lottery, right? It's, you really never know, no matter how touted a guy is, you really, really never know. All I will say is this team needs a new head coach if they want to be mint.
Yeah.
I'll throw that out there. Yeah. Matt Eberflus, sure. I didn't really. I don't. Especially when they completely sort of cleared house, yet he stayed. All his coordinators, all his staff got fired, but he didn't. But...
I don't know why they didn't try and get Ben Johnson from the Lions. I don't know why they didn't try and get the Houston offensive coordinator, whose name escapes me. I don't know why, even though I think his promotions come a bit too early. I don't know why they didn't kind of kick the tires on Dave Canales. They let the Panthers get him. One of these guys who's going to attach himself to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what you need. You need a guy who is going to stick with Caleb Williams. You don't need a defensive coach who their offensive coordinator is going to go in 2 years.
Canales in particular is like the quarterback whisperer or something.
Because you look what he did obviously with Mayfield.
That's it.
And that's kind of, and he was kind of like a big part of Geno Smith's resurgence here as well. Like I said, I think. If I was I said this back at the time, but if we're chatting about coaches dead quick because we've not had a chance to, I think I said if I was a team with a lot of money to kind of spend, like maybe the Panthers or something, I might have
given it off to Bill Belichick.
I think I'd have gone with Vrabel as a head coach to set the culture and kind of chuck Dave Canales a huge pay rise and said to him, look, you've been an offensive coordinator in this league for 2 years, that's it. and kind of brought Canales in, maybe as an offensive coordinator behind someone like a Vrabel. I'm more than happy for Canales to absolutely show me up and be like a really amazing head coach, though. Yeah. I'll be honest,
Yeah, so interesting for the Birds. We don't really know. Swift. I think Swift could be a serviceable running back too, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. The Lions, not much to report here. A lot of continuity, as we said, with the coordinators, with the coaches. Re-signed Donnie Peeps Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. But yeah, a lot of continuity. I see this pretty similar across the board for fantasy football, really. Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta. I think you're talking about three guys there who go top 10 at the position easily. But top 10, borderline top 5, at the position, those guys, which is great. The Detroit Lions are a great team for fantasy football. They're still going to be. So,
Did they lose CJ Gardner-Johnson?
Yes.
Amazing quote from him when he left Philadelphia.
Yes. Yeah.
He said the worst thing about Philadelphia is the people and the fans, and then a year later he's back.
Yeah.
Nah.
Do you know what, though? I like their fan base annoys me because the amount of times I hear, like, oh, yeah, if you play really well, they love you, but if you don't, you're going to hear about it. That's every fan.
Yeah.
They just do it an excuse to be obnoxious.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
They make it different in Philly.
Yeah, like that's not a good fan base. A good fan base would be like supportive if you weren't doing very well.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that.
We do that with the Cowboys all the time.
Yeah. They warrant it, to be fair.
The Green Bay Packers signed Josh Jacobs to a 4-year, $48 million deal, which is an incredibly deceiving sentence. $40 million in year one, then basically 3 1-year options. So essentially, don't really owe Jacobs much money after the first year. So we'll see. Sort of, I think he's on a pretty good deal, but they're trying to keep hold of him.
I feel something bubbling up inside this year. I think I might be like really hot on Josh Jacobs this year in draft season in terms of like. He might be one of my guys.
Really?
Are you seeing it as well?
I think so.
I'm envisioning.
I'm
envisioning something.
I'm
pretty special.
I'm seeing him in the green and yellow and just ploughing through guys. To be honest, I think he's going to be decent. They re-signed AJ Dillon as well in that room, and they snatched former Giants safety Xavier McKinney, 4 years, $68 million.
Now, the argument that I have had with Lou about Jacobs and about why I'm more excited for him than like a Henry or a Barkley is this idea of Jacob has been really good more recently than those other players. I feel like I'm liking.
I agree. I mean, I am as well. I think you can get him. Like, you're not going to have to spend an incredible amount of draft capital, and you know why? And well, the reason he's there is because also Aaron Jones is now in the Vikings.
Yeah.
So now I see these guys incredibly similar. Aaron Jones, 1 year, $7 million with the Vikings. Right? Do you want to me tell you their ADPs basically? Because I think these guys are really similar. Okay, Aaron Jones still has plenty of juice in my eyes. Current ADP for Aaron Jones is RB17.
Mm-hmm.
7th round.
We talked about people drafting in April here, which is
seventh round. And Josh Jacobs is the running back 15, also 7th round.
What?
At the minute.
Oh, Josh
ADP.
I don't think Jones will go much higher.
Start of the 7th round for Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs will go through the roof.
Josh Jacobs, I can't see him going past the 3. Again,
when
people realise the lack
Aaron
of...
Jones was better last year, though.
Than Jacobs.
Aaron Jones was better than Josh Jacobs
But then
last year.
Jacobs had just moved to the team that Aaron Jones was on.
Right, put it this way then. Josh Jacobs in the 4th round or Aaron Jones late 7th round?
Well, probably late 7th, but I think they're both going to rise together.
Yeah. I don't know if Aaron Jones rises that much because of the age, because of the team he's going to be on. Certainly not. They're not going to be. I mean, the Packers, I think, are going to be a really real contender this year.
Yeah, I want to pull back on the whole Packers Super Bowl thing. Yeah. I think they're going to be really good. I wouldn't be surprised if they just get as far as they did last year, though. which people will inevitably now see as a disappointment, whereas last year it was like an amazing, oh my God.
Session. I was going to say, I don't remember Aaron Jones being that good last year. I remember him being injured a lot.
Per
not
touch,
really doing
he was
anything.
injured, but per touch, he still had a lot of juice.
Per touch is great, but if he's only going to play 6 times a season, per touch ain't going to do much for you.
True. I mean,
did you not see how much Aaron Rodgers earned, like on that kind of bit? It's not necessarily a per touch thing. And he was like, the NFL basically gives players bonuses based on how much they played. And he made 0.03% of the bonus. He made like $81 bucks.
Yeah. So the Packers are going to be good.
Easy say $1
the pieces are going to be good. Josh Jacobs, one to keep an eye on. He's going to rise. But as we mentioned, the Minnesota Vikings signed Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is still going to be all right. Going to be interesting though. And Sam Darnold to a 1-year deal. We think they're going to move up in the draft, don't we? To get the Vikings to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy, maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on the drafts episode. The JJ McCarthy draft stock has just. It's skyrocketing at the minute to the point where I think someone's going to probably reach for him, and that team is going to be the Vikings. Even though I read like a weird article before about how they're preparing for Sam Darnold to be the starter.
Yeah, you do. You say that though. You obviously say that. You don't show your cards.
Broncos coach talking about Stidham the other day. So I'm really excited to see how Stidham throws the ball this
all
year.
These guys,
I think he might.
They might
draft
like a Spencer Rattler in the second, third round.
It's all a smoke screen. It's like, Jim Harbaugh wants there to be 4 quarterbacks taken. So with that 5th pick, the Chargers essentially have the number 1 pick. They don't. So that's why Jim Harbaugh's like, JJ McCarthy's the best quarterback I've ever seen.
And it's working.
This, that, and the other. And now everyone's like, maybe we should. The Cardinals are like, maybe we should trade out of this pick. It's like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Trade Justin Herbert and pick him up. It's all a smoke screen. Like, you're never gonna see what they really want until that draft.
Who I think could get traded though?
Who?
Justin Jefferson.
I think he should.
I don't think they want to pay him. I think they're kind of in a bit of a rebuild anyway. They saw that they've got like ego through the roof because they picked Jordan Addison, who looks pretty good, and they think that they can just pluck wide receivers from anywhere.
The thing is with Jordan Addison though, it's sort of the opposite to the Aaron Jones thing I was saying. Per route run, he wasn't great. He only looked good, Jordan Addison, because he was out there every single snap, basically. Like, and if you look at like the per route run, the per catch, whatever, he wasn't min.
No, I don't know what kind of draft stock the Bills have or cap space they would have to make a move.
If Justin Jefferson goes to the Bills, the universe will explode.
That would be like a
I would pay money to have the number 1 pick. I'd literally pay.
The people who lost their minds when Kadarius Toney went to the Chiefs would literally, the brains would explode.
Yeah. If that happens, I'll upload an episode of this where it's just us screaming.
He would, because I think he would like potentially set like the kind of receptions record if he went there.
Yeah, he needs to get some
2,000 yards.
Yeah, Darnold, he's not going to be. He's on a 1-year deal anyway. He's not going to be the answer there. But yeah, as we mentioned yesterday as well, they did sign Texans edge rusher Jonathan Green at 4 years, $76 million. AFC South.
NFC South.
AFC South was yesterday. I didn't finish my sentence. NFC South we did yesterday. Sorry. Because moving on from the Vikings, Kirk Cousins is now an Atlanta Falcon.
Whoa.
Yeah. 4 years, 180 million.
All the pieces were there.
50 million signing bonus, 100 million guaranteed.
There's your Tobias Harris. Forget Curtis Samuel. There's your Tobias Harris.
Some blatant kind of
tampering.
Super blatant tampering.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, what Cousins has done throughout his career and the money that he's secured it's absurd. It's outrageous considering the player he is. And you know what I think is even more absurd? The quarterback show on Netflix last year, combined with his play on the field, it's kind of turned around public perception on Cousins as a guy who chokes and bottles it to kind of like, Kirk Cousins is one of the best.
Well, it worked. I put him in my top 10.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, it worked. I was poisoned as well. He's crap.
Really, you've got these Minnesota fans who maybe they're a bit salty, but they're just a bit like, he's won like what no playoff win, 2 playoff appearances, no playoff wins in his time at Minnesota. I could be wrong in that, but it's something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy the public, the how quickly like one good win in prime time
Yeah.
does.
And a Netflix
And a
documentary.
Netflix documentary.
Which,
yeah.
and
Maybe Sean Watson needs one of them.
he's often.
I mean, he might already be out. Getting one.
He'll be getting one,
You'd have to blur everything out.
Yeah.
What could they film?
He might be getting one. It just might not be a sports doc. It might
Yeah.
be someone else.
Yeah, he doesn't play football on Tuesdays, Kirk Cousins, and he just goes to like Barnes and Noble or whatever, and
Yeah.
looks through the books,
Buys a flannel shirt
and
at
buys a
Sears.
flannel shirt, and I thought that was pretty wholesome because I don't actually think he was putting any of that on.
I don't think he
I think that was
I
it.
don't, yeah.
And now his wife's family is from Atlanta. They clearly wanted a kind of some security and kind of some assurances from the Vikings that they were going to get more than just a year-to-year deal moving forward. And he's been on the phone clearly to like Kyle Pitts.
You didn't give him his number in the
Didn't
end.
give him his number in there. That was
No
that was funny.
targets for Kyle
It'd be
Pitts.
funny if it was like, I know how we can get around the tampering rumours. You don't give him the number.
I know, yeah.
No one will realise, even though he's been on the phone to like the owner and the
But yeah, serious upgrade for Drake London, I'd say.
Yes.
Darnell Mooney was added as well.
And Kyle
3 years.
Pitts.
Yeah. 3 years, 39 million, 26 million guaranteed for Darnell Mooney. And they also traded for Rondale Moore. They sent the Cardinals Desmond Ridder. Goodbye. Massive boost for London. I do think there is a question regarding the health of Cousins, but obviously not a big enough question for the Falcons because they assessed him and gave him this deal. So
Yeah.
I'm honest, I still can't be bothered with Kyle Pitts though. I don't know why. I'm not doing it. You can say if buts and maybes, whatever. I'm just not doing it with Kyle Pitts. But Drake London, draft time, he's going to be one that a lot of people are talking about, I think.
Yeah.
Just to say as well, when you're talking about Desmond Ridder and you said goodbye, you missed a chance to say good riddance.
Good riddance.
Riddance. Yeah, mate. Good riddance. One awful player.
Yeah, terrible. Not as bad as Potato at Vegas, but not much better.
Potato at Vegas, yeah.
Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
Big move here. They traded for Deontay Johnson, and for some draft capital that they sent over, as well as Dante Jackson, defensive player, and 2 pretty massive offensive line signings. Former Dolphin Robert Hunt, 5-year, $100 million, and former Seahawks Damian Lewis, 4-year, $53 million. The sort of really, I feel like all those 3 big moves. Literally, here you go, Bryce Young, here you go, Bryce Young, here you go, Bryce Young. Really, and to be honest, like, for me, this all depends on Bryce Young's growth, but I do sneakily like Deontay Johnson because he's one of the best separators in the league. He is. You look at the stats, he is. Constantly gets open and away from defenders. Perfect weapon for a young quarterback who's obviously struggling. Get him an easy target.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying this as an opinion. Look at the stats. They don't come much easier than Deontay Johnson.
yeah.
So I don't know. I just it's got me sneakily. I'm not ready to say like Bryce Young's going to admit this. I think Deontay Johnson's going to get a lot of targets his way. Couple that with the offensive line improvements we hope, and I think you could have a sneaky pick there in Deontay Johnson who could be one of those guys in the middle of the season. Not necessarily, a bit more longevity than Adam Thielen had last year.
I was going to say, because there was a time last year after sort of 6 games where Thielen was unbelievable, and Deontay Johnson's obviously a better player at this point.
Yeah.
So I can see it. It's just, not to offend our, many Carolina Panthers fans in the community for some reason, apparently. It's just hard to get excited about them just from how bad they've been. Saying that, however, I think we said that about the Texans up until 2 years ago, and suddenly they're everyone's golden boy. So not saying it can't change.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a bit of time for me.
I know you like Deontay Johnson now. What do you reckon about him?
He's a great player, and you always get draft value with Deontay Johnson because people forget how peppered he seems to get with targets and how good of a player he actually is. Some kind of weird attitude stuff at the Steelers last year, which is probably the reason why they weren't bothered about letting him go. But as far as safety blankets go for a kind of a new quarterback, we're going to see. We're going to see this year what Bryce Young is.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those years where we're talking about so many players going to new teams. A lot of the time, it's like you don't want to get bought into put this guy on this team and he's going to be mint, because a lot of the time, I think in previous years I have been adamant about like it's usually not as good. You have to, but this year there's so many different guys on different teams. It's like you got to plant your flag on some of these guys.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
The Saints. This is going to be a quick one. Cedric Wilson, 2-year deal. Chase Young, 1-year deal. Don't know what this team is.
Is there a more just boring, nothing team
we
in
will
the
get.
league?
I promise you, we will get to him in a bit, and we will get to a more nothing boring team. But I am seriously just scarred and haunted by the complete lack of chemistry between Chris Olave and Derek Carr. So I do not want to be drafting Chris Olave this year, just because I felt that in multiple teams last year.
I think I said last year that I don't want to draft anyone from the Saints, and I'll be sticking to that.
They're not quite that for me. There is a team we'll talk about in a little bit, which is my congratulations not drafting anyone from you. But I'll tell you who it is in a bit.
Okay.
You guys are really down on the Cowboys this year.
But that's the Saints, whatever. Sure, Alvin Kamara's probably still going to be class, I guess.
Will he? I don't even know.
Well, he was my bust last year and it'll be mint.
Yeah,
the Buccaneers, again, this is similar to the Lions. This is all about who they brought back. Baker Mayfield, 3-year, $100 million. Mike Evans, 2-year, $52 million. And franchise tagged Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yeah.
Continuity. Listen, this is the best thing that this team could do, because what can you do, you're the Buccaneers? It's like, well, we know we're not going to win the Super Bowl, but this is better than blowing it up, isn't it? So, like, let's see what they've got. I see the fantasy options similar to last year, Evans and Rashad White. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
One sec. Let me see who their offensive coordinator is.
Offensive coordinator?
Liam Cohen. There's no offensive coordinator. Yeah.
Not impressed, Al?
I'm just seeing whether he was on the staff before with Canales. Because obviously, we had Rashad White, who was draft value, draft darling last year, won our award. You had Mike Evans, who was in there almost winning a fantasy award from us last year. Former Rams and Kentucky offensive coordinator Liam Cohen. So they are bringing someone from outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're just going to keep your fingers crossed, because Mike Evans didn't look like he was slowing down, so it just depends on what the offense is.
I know. I'm still pretty high on those guys, though.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
NFC West.
You might have to pay a bit of a premium on Evans this year that you didn't have to last year.
I think he will. I think he'll fall again. I think Evans will fall. I think White will be higher.
Yeah.
But I think for the past 2-3 years now, people have been trying to write off Mike Evans, and he's just not letting him. But I think he'll probably slip to that 7th again, and whoever gets,
they're trying to write him up, but he didn't write back. That's a hard line. I do like that.
It makes no sense. I've always thought it makes no sense. I don't think it is a very good line.
I think it's good because it's one of those vibes things where it's like, it doesn't have to make sense. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the equivalent of like, they try to talk to me, but I've shut my ears and went la la la. Like, I mean, come on.
The NFC West, Arizona Cardinals, DJ Dallas, 3-year, $8.25 million. That doesn't really mean anything. It's still James Conner.
That's the guy with who does the crazy eyes on the fantasy pitches. Yes.
I mean, surely they have to be drafting a wide receiver.
Yeah, they will be.
And if they get Marvin Harrison Jr. Al, just quickly, we are going to get into this, but where would he be drafted in fantasy? Like, what level of player are we talking? Jr. goes to the Cardinals.
Goes to either the Cardinals or the Chargers.
Yeah.
We're talking. He doesn't get out of the second round fantasy.
Really?
We're seeing how high people are drafting wide receivers now.
Yeah.
I don't. At the minute, I'm comfortable saying he doesn't get out of the first 20 picks overall fantasy. Okay. So we're talking like top 10 wide receiver. Probably.
Would you take him?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
watch this guy play,
and you need to listen to us talk about the rookies, the potential rookies.
Yeah, I spent a whole weekend watching the combine, so you didn't have to. It was pretty fun, to be fair. Saw Xavier Worthy completely shatter the 40 record by
maybe that should be our clickbait title for that episode. We watched the whole NFL combine so you don't have to. Here's what we learned. 10 tips and tricks. Here's what we learned. Hidden messages.
Xavier Worthy completely smashing the 40 record by 0.01 seconds.
Smashed.
Great player who's probably not going to really do anything in the NFL because he's stick thin, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, he's going to
a speed guy, but you look at who did he break the record of? John Ross. What did he do? Nothing.
Legs fell off.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, combine, draft prospects episode coming up soon. Potentially no more exciting draft prospects for fantasy this year than Marvin Harrison Jr. to make like a immediate impact. Cool. So yeah, Harrison Jr., if he goes to someone with like a Murray at the helm, with a Herbert at the helm, if he goes to the Patriots, forget everything I said.
The Rams. Yeah, obviously Aaron Donald has retired. One of the best to ever play the game in that position. That will be a loss for this team. Whose defense wasn't great anyway, but yeah.
No, I think they had some young pieces on the defense last year. I think they'll be better than you think.
Yeah, but Aaron Donald has retired. They re-signed Demarcus Robinson 1-year deal. He was a nice little piece in that offense. Jimmy Garoppolo as well. 1-year deal. He's a backup now and forever shall be. And former. Tell me if you know who this is. Former Seahawks tight end Colby Parkinson.
Oh yeah, what was that about?
Because by the way, they give him a 3-year, $22.5 million, $15.5 million guaranteed deal. They must see something in him that nobody else saw.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't remember him even playing last year.
You know what? I did look up his stats. He's played not that many snaps, not that many games in his career. This is his 5th year in the league.
Because Higbee's better than him, and he's been a middling tight end for the past 3 years.
This
now,
is the thing.
so...
There's some stuff that we obviously don't see, but yeah.
I mean, I do think on the coaching side they might miss Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator who's now the head coach at the Falcons. But you see any videos or listen to anyone talk about Raheem Morris, or you look at clips of him at the training facility, and the guy's like an expert on every area of the game. He's like coaching quarterbacks up on a video I saw this morning.
He's kicking. He's kicking in front of the kickers.
So it's a guy who's defensive coordinator, but really great all round at every. I think
bit of a Belichick then, I guess.
I think the Falcons have got a really good coach there. Nice. In Morrison, I think the Rams might miss him.
Nice. Well, he's very experienced. He did have a go at being a head coach 15 years ago, something, didn't he? I mean, I'm all in on Karen. I think Karen's going to be great.
I think Nuka.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Listen, guess the ADP, okay? Don't look at my screen.
I'm not looking.
Thank you. Nakua, right? Where do you think Puka Nakua's going in terms of wide receivers?
4.
7.
6. 9 overall. Where do you think Cooper Kupp's going in terms of wide receivers?
10.
13.
27.
You're joking.
39 overall.
Cooper Kupp. I'm calling it. Cooper Kupp's this year's Mike Evans. Calling it.
I thought it was crazy. Obviously, Nakua's great, but Cooper Kupp right now, wide receiver 27, 39 overall. You're getting him in the back of the 4th round.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I think he was injured last year. Like, I don't know, but I mean, a lot of fantasy goodness in this Rams team, like there always is under Sean McVay. A lot to be talked about closer to fantasy draft time, I guess, with these wide receivers. The 49ers, another one of those teams who, I mean, rarely make massive splashes apart from the McCaffrey room and stuff like that. So
they can't have much cap room. They've got everyone on.
I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. I think he wants a deal. I don't know what's going to happen there.
He keeps tweeting Mike Tomlin being like, "We look the same." Have you seen that? Yeah, he do look quite similar to be fair.
He tweeted this series of emojis as well, which I was able to decipher.
What is this?
It was
Richard Osman's House of Games.
Yeah, it was. The first one was a cash symbol with a picture of a man, the emoji guy with his hands in his pockets, walking.
Yeah.
Then there was a picture of a male cow. Then there was the brown emoji in the swirl with his face on it.
Right.
No, I got that wrong. It was cash. Then it was the mouth emoji. Then it was the male cow. then it was the brown swirl emoji, then it was the man walking.
Yeah.
So it's money talks, bull excrement walks.
Oh, thanks for deciphering that, Sharks.
Thank you. It took me a long time.
Yeah, it would do. Yeah.
God.
San Francisco 49ers also signed Josh Dobbs. Back to the bench with you. What are you doing?
That man could have been in space.
It was fun. That man could have been in space.
And he chose to do this instead.
That was a fun 2 weeks where it was like, this guy is it.
He doesn't
this
even
guy
know
can
the
do
offense.
every. He can do
This
everything.
guy-
He's Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
He's like scanning. He's like, oh my god, he can just perceive the offense as he's seeing it. He can build rockets.
And then people are using that as a legit thing, well, he's a rocket scientist, so it must be easy for him to learn the playbook.
Not the same.
Anyway, that was fun. The Seahawks,
Yeah.
Sam Howell acquired in a trade with the Commanders.
Okay. This
Not much to
this mate, this offense is in.
not much to really.
This offense is in the grub era,
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is.
they re-signed some defensive pieces and stuff like that, which is good. But
What I mean by that is the new offensive coordinator is Ryan Grubb from Washington Huskies. He was the offensive coordinator of Washington this year in college.
Yeah.
Who had this super high-flying, deep-throwing offense with Michael Penix Jr. and people like Roma Dunze. And they were just slinging it all over the place, which tells me don't be surprised if... This is why you listen to us. This is me telling you right now. I can't guarantee anything, but this offense is going to throw the ball quite a lot. Don't be surprised if you get more volume to those wide receivers that we were talking about in the last episode. The knowledge we're giving... This is all more knowledge to get into your fantasy drafts, and you know now that this new offensive coordinator has come from a really grubby... he's come from a really high-flying college offense, and there could be some serious value in these Seahawks wide receivers this year, especially with someone like Geno who's seen can sling it. I'm pretty low-key, and I'm trying to keep it low-key, even though I'm in the room with two people that I'm going to draft with. Pretty low-key, very excited for these for this Seattle offense this year. Yeah.
And this is just a yes or no. Don't need to spend loads of time on it. If that's the case, and everything you just said is the case, is there a chance that they draft Michael Penix Jr.?
Yeah, I think there is.
Okay.
Because they are...
One word.
Maybe.
Yeah. Just because, like you're saying, obviously Geno isn't the
16,
future.
He's not the future. I think 16 is...
High for him.
I think,
16's probably a bit of a reach for Penix. However, with how the quarterbacks are kind of shooting up draft boards at the minute, I think if they're at 16 and Penix is on the board, they probably do draft him, yeah.
NFC East, the New York Giants, they added Devin Singletary, Isaiah McKenzie.
It's a bit like, that is exactly like when the Knicks added Julius Randle. Remember, who's a really good player now.
Yeah,
but remember that year that it was like, something big's coming.
Yeah.
And then they added Julius
Julius
Randle.
Obviously, very
And
polished.
5 other power forwards after him for no apparent reason.
Singletary.
Isaiah McKenzie, Drew Lock, traded for edge rusher Brian Burns.
That's
a big one. And then
yeah.
subsequently gave him a 5-year, $150 million, $76 million
He was
guaranteed.
wasting away in Carolina.
Yeah, but congratulations. This is the team that I could not imagine drafting anybody from this
The
year.
Eagles.
The Giants.
Oh, the Giants.
Not drafting any Giant this year. Sorry.
I think
Go on. Who?
when they draft Malik Neighbours and Drew Lock plays serviceable football at quarterback,
Is Drew Lock going to be the quarterback then?
I think so.
Okay.
I think there's some weird chatter around New York, and we really like Drew Lock this year, and everyone knows they hate.
Sure.
Everyone knows they hate Daniel
Sharples,
Jones.
anyone who you're going to be playing, drafting?
Well, people have forgotten Kenny Golladay a few years ago. No, obviously not. Is he still there?
No.
I think he might have retired.
Is he retired?
Not off his own back, but because no one wants to pay him.
No. well, obviously, if something happens in the draft, like I say, I've heard good things about Malik Neighbours, but as it stands, no choice.
Just for me, it's like at that point, it's like, well, you've got to look at the team though. Like, there's no way I'm going to be as high on a guy like Malik Neighbours if he goes to the Giants.
Yeah,
but if he's literally the only thing in that offense, then there's an argument for it.
Yeah, there is an argument. Yeah, the Eagles, the big one, they traded for Kenny Pickett.
Well, I don't get what that. I don't get why. Because it's like, well, because everyone has been pooing on Kenny Pickett all season, saying he's terrible, and as soon as he goes to the Eagles, those same people, well, they've got a good backup now behind Hurts. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, if Hurts goes down, you're knackered. Kenny Pickett is shocking.
He is. But no, the real big news is Saquon Barkley, 3-year, $37.75 million, $25.5 million guaranteed, which is the big one for me because that's the biggest running back contract. That tells me they're going to be utilising this guy.
Yeah.
You don't pay that much money to a guy and sit him on your bench. This isn't a Bijan Robinson situation. They don't owe Bijan Robinson anything last year because they drafted him high. They owe this guy a lot because they're paying him a lot of money, so they're going to get usage out of Saquon
Also
Barkley.
tampering. He's old. He's old kind of Penn State coach.
Right.
Just let it out.
Also tampering. Yeah.
He's old Penn State coach just let out that Barkley had been on the phone to the owner, and then Barkley had to kind of walk his old coach's comments.
He was just telling me about a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm high on Barkley. I don't know how high yet, but I do think he didn't show me anything last year that he was slowing down. Now he's on the best offense of his career. They're paying him big money. Yeah, solid RB1, I would say. I don't know. Do you agree?
He's definitely in a better situation. It's a better O-line. Obviously, might get some touchdowns taken away from Jalen Hurts, but it's just the thing with Saquon. I know we don't like talking about injuries. Obviously, you can't predict an injury, but it's just hard with him. Like he's been a high-profile guy for a few years now, and I mean, you in particular, he's burned you twice in a row, didn't he?
Yeah,
maybe.
And I'm drafting McCaffrey ahead of him. I'm drafting Hall ahead of him.
Okay.
I'm drafting
Karen or Barkley.
Karen, I think a closer one. Well, not close to me. I think a closer one is Jonathan Taylor or Barkley. I'm saying it's not close because I'm taking Taylor.
If you're massive on Josh Jacobs, then Josh Jacobs or Barkley.
That's something to think about. I'm going to go Jacobs, even though you're listening to you just talk about Saquon Barkley is going to warp my brain.
Listen to me tell you that they're giving him $25 million.
Doesn't make his legs work any better.
It means he's going to get the opportunity.
The $25 million man.
He had all the opportunity in New York. He was just injured all the time.
Shut up. Shut up. Saquon Barkley, number 1 overall.
No.
They also signed Devontae Parker, Paris Campbell, 1-year deals.
Whatever.
Extended guard Landon Dickerson, that was nice.
He bought a tractor with his.
He did.
Money. Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
I was into. I didn't tell you guys actually. Last year I got into real hard into Farming Simulator for not Farming Simulator, Lawnmower Simulator. For a week, and then it just got really annoying.
Nice.
Very good.
What, you got really annoyed?
Oh, I always am, but the game.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good.
It starts off really relaxing, right? Because you're just obviously going around on this lawnmower, but then you have to cut 99.5% of all the blades of grass. I don't know if you've tried to mow a virtual lawn.
No. I've shaved a virtual face on a shaving game, and it's a similar thing where it's like get all the hairs.
Yeah, those last 2% or so, they ain't just lying around. No, they're hard to find.
Okay. So you need to get the scissors out.
Yeah.
Also signed Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
Former edge rusher for the Jets.
Yeah.
But they did lose Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, 2 massive players on opposite phases of play for that team. Who's to say how that's going to affect them? But yeah. Hot seat for the head coach?
Yeah, big time. Like, everything he said last year and everything he did, it was just like he was digging his hole even deeper. It was like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've said several times, seems like an annoying guy.
Yeah.
I would love a 30-30 on what happened to the Eagles last season.
I would.
I would really love
they
that.
went
Like
from-
get into the locker room.
Winning
Yeah.
like a championship team where it's like they didn't play very well, but they grinded it out.
Because I didn't appreciate all that stuff that was coming out that was like, oh, well, it's Jalen Hurts, his attitude. Everything I've seen of Jalen Hurts shows me that he's a good guy, hard worker, or earn the money that he's getting and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't really appreciate that. What I would rather say is maybe it's the head coach who's beefing with Chiefs fans when they've just beat him and stuff like that on the sideline and having to be taken away by Jalen Hurts. Like maybe it's that guy.
And he clearly lost those
the coordinators.
The coordinators that he lost,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you saw the coach's picture from the other week.
I did. There was some missing.
Jonathan Gannon, jacked.
Stacked,
Yeah.
He is big
Yeah.
time stacked. Good on him. The Commanders.
Oh, on the Commanders, there's a new rule.
Yeah, go on.
There's a new rule. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a kit rule, and teams can assign players' jersey numbers based on the projected number of minutes played. What's this?
Commanders Marcus Mariota to become first QB in NFL history to wear number 0.
I wondered why that was still on there. Right?
It's a real 0-0.
I've had that lined up for like
Story.
20 minutes.
Yeah, it's incredibly poetic that Max Mariota is going to wear number 0. But they also they signed him on a 1-year deal. Signed Austin Eckler 2 years, $11.3 million. So Austin Eckler never really got that big payday he was looking for. But I don't know. To me, this is just a dampener on Brian Robinson because Brian Robinson is a good running back, ground and pound running back. With Gibson out of the way, it was like, could be opening up a bit more. No. Add a guy in Austin Eckler who is an elite pass catcher. There you go. I don't really see much fantasy relevance
Like
for either in the notable rounds anyway.
He's
maybe
going to look even slower in that red uniform though. That kind of a burgundy red uniform.
And they also signed Zach Ertz to a 1-year deal. Okay,
whatever.
I mean,
Did he not? Did he make it up, or did he try? Did he get out of the Cardinals at the end of last year to try and get a ring? The Cardinals released him last year because he wanted to try and get a ring.
Didn't he go to the Lions? No,
something like that.
Yeah.
Where did he go last year, Zach Ertz?
I thought it was maybe.
He went ring chasing.
Wasn't it
last year.
Ravens? Was it?
He went ring chasing last year.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Anyway,
He did go ring tracing.
chasing.
They're going to get a quarterback these, aren't they? So we'll see. And Sharples, if you could do me the honours of this very huge Cowboys section, just read me the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys are all in.
They're all in, baby.
Oh yeah,
we're all in.
We got a few. We got a lot of
We're all in,
we got a
baby.
lot of second-year players that we're excited about.
Yeah.
We are all in, and that isn't just a joke. That is genuinely. I have nothing to put for the Cowboys. No.
Didn't they re-sign a punter?
Long snapper.
Long snapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rico Dowdle, still got him. Deuce Vaughn, still got him. Eric Kendricks, woo.
Oh.
Seriously, the Dallas Cowboys, there's nothing of note. Nothing.
Gallup's gone, hasn't he? Gallup's been released.
Yeah.
What a bad contract and average player.
Yeah.
He never turned out to be
I mean,
anything, did he?
listen, if nothing changes from now to the fantasy football draft, right, where are you drafting CD Lamb, though?
Oh, like third overall?
Yeah. So CD Lamb's still going to be great. Dak Prescott's still going to be great. Who is going to be running the ball, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out when we do our little draft show.
Were you guys surprised that Derrick Henry wasn't asked? Because apparently he's come out and said, like, I'm based in Texas in the off-season. I was expecting a call. I would have liked to have gone, but no one ever called me, basically.
Listen.
Yeah.
It gets in, when you're so all in as the Cowboys, you miss some stuff. So you might not have heard about Derrick Henry being available.
To say this all-in thing.
And when there's so many players moving teams, so many notable free agents, and it's like, we're all in. If you don't know what we're referring to, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones at the start of the off-season was like, we're all in. I can tell you we're all in.
We're
And it's
all
and
in.
they subsequently...
He meant we're all in this room, and it was like 5 people.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And
this is the team.
and that's the roster.
We're all in.
Yeah.
Also, calling it early doors. The main thing we're going to be talking about this time next year is whichever new team Dak Prescott's on.
Yeah.
I think he's gone.
He shouldn't have said we're all in. He should have said we're preparing to blow it up because they clearly don't want to pay Dak.
Yeah.
We're all in our bunker. Ready for the nuclear bomb to drop at Arlington because we're blowing it up. Whatever. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I mean, nothing changes for the fantasy guys in Dallas, but wow, that's disappointing. When you have all these guys and you lose your running back and cool. Anyway, that was the NFC. Yeah, a lot to unpack, to think about. A lot of moves and shakers. This was this has been moves and shakers. It's a bit throwback to the previous episode. We will be coming at you in the next week or two with a little draft prospects episode, getting ready for that NFL draft. Yeah. Going to be really excited. A really exciting draft because there's just so many offensive pieces.
Even if. There's going to be about, I'd say, maybe 80% of the players picked in the first round are offensive players. Doesn't mean they're all fantasy relevant players. A lot of offensive tackles, offensive linemen in this draft. But I'm going to try and give you some names to look out for, kind of give you some information about some players that are maybe going to be fantasy relevant. Even potentially do a bit of a mock draft myself, throw in some chaos in there with some trades where I might like to see some players go, and hopefully just give you some names to look out for in your fantasy draft. I remember the first year we played fantasy, it was Saquon Barkley's rookie year. We didn't really know many of the players. One of our friends picked Saquon Barkley because he looks like he could be pretty good. Never really heard of him. And this gentleman ended up winning the fantasy league. So it's about knowing those unknown players that are potentially going to come into the league and make like a kind of instant impact. So draft prospects episode coming up.
Nice. Any closing thoughts, Alex Sharples?
I just think going back to the last episode because obviously I'm a Jets guy. It is quite disheartening that it's a make or break season, and yet even if they make it, that'll be finishing 10-7.
Yeah.
Agreed.
My closing thought is, who is it easier to remember the name of? The Saints head coach
Dennis Allen?
The new Titans head coach?
Don't know. The Saints one.
The Titans.
This episode is not going to end until we remember the Titans head coach.
I know it.
Sharples?
No. I'd completely forgotten Dennis Allen until you said it.
The Titans head coach is Chet.
Hang on, right? So they didn't sign Vrabel.
The Titans head coach was the Bengals offensive coordinator.
I'm trying to think of his name. I remember seeing the headline: Vrabel out.
Matt Stone.
No.
Clint.
No.
Clinton Baptiste.
Josh. Brian Callahan.
Yes.
Well done.
Hey, well done.
It's amazing.
Lucky that car drove past.
The Brian Callahan car. The Brian Callahan mobile.
And Dan Quinn's at the Commanders, by the way. That's funny.
They're going to be rubbish. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
See you.
Bye-bye.